live for you? Okay. We will start. Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam sakala muni jananam jnanadatharamarat tribhuvana gurumisham Dakshinamurty devam janana marana dukkha cheda daksham namami chitram vatataror mule vriddha sishya gurur yuva gurostu maunam vyakhyanam shishyastu chinna samshayah om nama pranavartaya shuddha jnanaikamurtaye nirmalaya prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye namaha. Om Sarvatmatvamiti sputi kritamidam yasmat amushmin stave tenasya shravanat tatartana mananat dhyanatcha sankirtanat sarvatmatva mahabhibhuti sahitam Syadishwaratvam tataha siddhaye tat punarashtadha parinatam chaishwaryam avyahatam. So you have come to the last shloka of Dakshinamurty Stotra. And as I was mentioning last time, it's popularly called Dakshinamurty Ashtakam. So Ashtakam is 8. So for all practical purposes, the teachings are over in the first 8. In fact, the 8th sloka itself was a quick recap of the issue of Maya and Advaita Siddhanta. So that's how sloka 8 itself was. Sloka 9, of course, and 10 are he is trying to bring a very interesting point. We saw Sloka 9 last time when we met, where the emphasis seems to be that it is not knowledge. It is not just uttering stotra by heart. The real value is our ability to do a bit of upasana. That was the idea which was there in Sloka 9. And that idea is also a little bit emphasized here, and Sloka 10 says what kind of a phala we will get, and in order to get that phala, what should we do? So that kind of discussion is here. As we have seen so far, Dakshinamurty Stotra or Ashtaka, whatever you call it, is really the essence of Vedanta. It is really the essence of Advaita Siddhanta. Such nice 8 shlokas, 8 into 4, 32 lines, such profound ideas have been compressed and put so nicely. So, in some sense, it is Atma Vidya, given so nicely in a very concise form, distilled form, concentrated form, if I were to use words like that. I think you should switch on the fan. And so, all rules of Atma Vidya therefore must apply to Dakshinamurty Stotram also. Now, what I mean by that is the prayojana that we get out of Prakarana Grantha or a Grantha or a piece which talks about Atma Vidya requires a certain orientation to it. It's not like Apara Vidya. It's not like maths and physics and biochemistry. Atma Vidya, if you recall my first lecture in Taitra Upanishad, I talked about some of the inherent challenges. It is about within, not about without. Indriyas are of not much use. Still we have only Indriyas. So we have these kinds of, I think all of them must apply here also. because it is a very, very distilled form of the Atma Vidya. So therefore, that is what he is trying to communicate in the 10th shloka. He brings Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, all those he is bringing here in terms of what needs to be done and so on. So, essentially in the 9th shloka of Dakshinamurty Stotram, Shankaracharya said it is very important we go beyond mere knowledge. Knowledge is made available. That is only jnana. So it is very important we get to the stage of vijnana, visishta jnana, which is, I was trying to use that example of a knowledge creating company example which we teach in our other things. So essentially it is knowledge merely known for the first time is only an explicit knowledge. It's available out in the public in a book or some place in some people, so on. That has to be converted to implicit knowledge. It should become part of us. It should go through it. One person went to Ramana Maharshi, I think Devaraja Mudaliyar, Madras. He went to Ramana Maharshi and said, Swami, I have been seeing this Bhagavad Gita for the last 15 years. Nothing is happening to me. This is the kind of question he asked. And Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said that the book is asking you to see you. You are seeing at the book. This is Ramana Maharshi's way of saying. Essentially what he is saying is it should, you consume the knowledge. Did the knowledge consume you? That is step 2. You consume the knowledge, that is okay. But the knowledge must consume this person, no? So that is a very, very important part. That is what in the last 2 shlokas he is bringing. That's why he brings the upasana. That is the value of upasana in this country. Because only through upasana that chitta ekagrata, indriya ekagrata, otherwise it goes out. You have to have a convergence. Because when you converge, you take a lens and converge the sun's rays, you can probably melt steel easily. Or you can get steam, which is what we are getting in IIM Bangalore anyway. Put the parabolic reflectors on the top of our mess and then we have removed all the LPG cylinders long back. It is generating so much of steam. We are actually letting off steam. Waste. So that focus is the idea of the upasana. The only a little bit, it may be a slightly long drawn process, but we should get this idea also. Unless that focus happens, the chitta ekagrata, the indriyanam nigraham, it's not going to happen, and only when that happens, the Atma Vidya will start working in us slowly. So that is what he was trying to get in the 9th sloka. So that idea only he is actually continuing in 10th sloka. Of course, he also ends with the phala. Because, what happens, you go through the text, what will happen and so on. He also provides methods for using the stotram for our self-evolution. What do we do? Now that we have some knowledge, which is explicit, because padacheda, all that we have done and we have understood on the face of it what is there. So how do we use it? So, whenever we study for the purpose of self-evolution, not for loka vyavahara, I am not talking about vyavaharika vishaya, I am talking about paramarthika vishaya. Whenever we study anything for self-evolution, then we need to have a method. That method has a lot of parallel for vyavaharika vidya also, they have parallels. But when you talk about it, first of all, we have to hear it from a guru. This paramarthika vidya, we have to hear from a guru. Otherwise, it has enormous scope for that becoming either less meaningful or it can be actually, futile, it can be misleading. All these 3 can happen. That is why our sampradaya is, I think first time we should hear from somebody who can not mislead us too much, or at least they can put us into. That's why this sampradaya of guru was very, very important, because the right perspective is required. Otherwise, it is a matter of etymology, it is a matter of syntax, it's a matter of, none of the Prakarana Granthas are a matter of syntax. That's why a great Sanskrit Pandit cannot, actually teach a Prakarana Grantha. He may teach the Padacheda, he will do well, all that. That's not what it is. Sukshma is very, very important. So I think this method starts with, first we should hear from a guru, so that the knowledge is not misleading. Knowledge is definitely not misleading. It is not futile. It should not become futile. It should not become misleading. So this is a step one. Secondly, repeatedly we need to think about it. Knowledge is not for a time pass. Knowledge is not to say, I have also now little bit understood Upanishad, I have understood this Upanishad, I know what in this one. I mean, more than understood. Understood is a heavy term. I know what is in it. That is the level one. So I think we need to graduate, that is a good starting point. So repeatedly thinking about it, and the idea of, that's where Upasana comes. Repeatedly thinking about it is only, if I have to use a management term to explain it, it will buy the mind share. We use the word mind share. Advertisements, buy the mind share. So like that, the repeatedly thinking about it, which is why an Upasana helps, will start buying your mind share, which means the mind will give some space for this now. That is what, in simple terms, we need to do. So can we establish it firmly over a long years and repeated thing? Can it get established in the mind? Unless it gets established in the mind, we are on a losing battle, which is not going to work. Then comes the third stage, where we deeply introspect, on the subject matter, because now it is captured a little mind share, so it is going to allow us to happen. And this will happen not only for this. This will happen if you want to, invest and multiply your wealth by 5 times. First, it has to capture your mind share. You have to keep thinking about it. It applies everywhere, but it is all the more important here, right? If you deeply introspect on the subject matter, 2 things will happen. And those 2, so the intermediate step is that Upasana, which will help us this deep introspection. So 2 things will definitely likely to happen. One is, it will change our understanding of that, understanding of ourselves. All Atma Vidyas have this particular property in it. It will change our understanding of ourselves slowly. It will change our understanding of life. It will change our understanding of people and world around. That is what it is actually doing. And it puts a slightly different paradigm of many of these matters. That is one thing which can happen. Second thing is, it can lead us inevitably into some experimentation. Because only then this idea gets established. You can talk of Atma, Anatma, Vichara. You can talk about Aparigraha. How many times we should talk of Aparigraha? We should try. Somebody has something, we should be able to give without a second thought, even if it is a fortune. Then Aparigraha, then we have to see what is the experience of it. We will naturally get there. We will try small experiments in our own ways in our personal lives. This repeated thinking and introspection will lead us there, and that will give us the Swanubhuti. From small little things it will move on. So that experimentation gives us that Swanubhuti. That is why that introspection is very required. It changes our understanding of ourselves, our people and life and meaning of life and so on. It will encourage us to do a little bit of experimentation, this is how the explicit knowledge slowly will become implicit. The jnana will go into the vijnana route. That is why all these are generally part of this method of understanding Atma Vidya. And if our intentions are genuine, this is the most important part. In this experiment that we are doing, because we are so much used to asking, because Arjuna asked this question in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. He said when Atma Samyama Yoga, this Dhyana Yoga was all beautifully explained by Krishna, Arjuna finally said all those are fine. He says, Vayoriva Sudushkaram, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, Pramati Balavadridam, Tasyaham Nigraham Manye, Vayoriva Dushkaram. All that you are saying is fine. But is it going to happen? It is like catching air in an open. You can catch air in an enclosure, not in an open place. It's as difficult as that, for which he said, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihhyate. Then he asked one more question. That is that's very representative of our thought process. Then he said, fine, that is okay. Because you said Abhyasa and Vairagya and all that will take time. He said, this Janma I would have wasted. I would have at least enjoyed something. I am neither here nor there. So this kind of doubts we have. These kinds of things we have. But the real interesting thing, I think this we should have our own anubhava, it cannot be explained, is if we are genuine, because otherwise these doubts will just overpower us. We'll ask, all this knowledge is fine, will it happen, should we really, karmaneva adhikaraha mahapaleshu kadachana, should I do it or not? 1,000 times I have learned, I have understood the meaning, everything is fine. Should I do it? That doubt will come. The only, parihara or sammada for that answer, samadhana for that is, if you read some stories and Puranas, you get this answer. The answer is, if our intentions are genuine, correct, and if our efforts are continuous. If our intentions are genuine, efforts are continuous, it will also show us the way, lead us a few steps forward in this journey. This is the most important thing. The divinity will show. For example, it will show a guru at the right time, or it will do something, and we have to understand. So we should be assured of asking, will it happen? Start asking, will it happen? This Shraddha will drop, and that will be the major mind block. That will, I think it's not a good idea in Atma Vidya. Will it happen is a very bad question, because the mind will take over then. It is actually that surrender, that certain surrender which is required. So that if all these are done, this is the method by which Atma Vidya has to go. So these ideas are all in some way coming in this shloka. In a different way I am seeing these ideas coming in this last shloka of Dakshinamurty Stotra. Because it's Atma Vidya, Shankaracharya wants to put these thoughts also as the concluding thoughts as to how you actually make use of this grantha. So now with that we will look at this shloka now. We will of course do the Padacheda and a little bit we'll make it, loosen it, and then. So it says, Sarvatmatvam iti sputikritam idam sputikritam. Yasmat, therefore. Yasmat is therefore. Or wherefore actually. Correctly saying wherefore. Yasmat, amushmin, this is in Sandhi, the Nakara becomes Makara. It is amushmin, stave. So in Sandhi, it becomes, the Makara comes. Nakara becomes Makara. It's, one of those Hal Sandhis. So amushmin, stave, tena asya, Shavanat, Tata, Arthamananat, Dhyanat cha. So all those, Mananat become Mananad. Jala, some is there. There's a Va there. So it can be Tha or Da also. Or Jalam Jashonte. There is one sutra is there. So which will make the, hard one will become the soft one. The first and two will be replaced by 3 and 4 of the column. That's why you have Mananad. Mananat becomes Mananad. So it is in Sandhi actually. If you do a Padacheda, it will become Mananat. Takara will come, Dakara will go. Mananat, Dhyanat cha. That in Sandhi, Dhyana cha. Okay? Dhyanat cha, Sankirtanat. Sarvatmatva Maha Vibhuti Sahitam. Single Samasta Pada. Up to that is one word actually. Sarvatmatva Maha Vibhuti Sahitam Syat Ishwaratvam. Syat plus Ishwaratvam. Syat Ishwaratvam Tataha Siddhayet. Tat Punaha Ashtada Punarashtada. Punaha Tat Punaha Ashtada Parinatam Cha Aishwaryam Avyahritam. So this is the shloka. There are only 2 Kriya Padas in this entire shloka. So you should, if you have to make a meaning of anything, start from the Kriya Pada only. That's a discipline of Sanskrit. So there are only 2 Kriya Padas here. So we'll go for the last Kriya Pada, Siddhayet. Siddhayet is there, Syat is there. There are 2 of them. Siddhayet and Syat. So Siddhayet we will take. Siddhayet is likely to get. It's a lot. Likely to get. Siddhayet. Likely to attain. Likely to. It's not will get. It is not future. It's a tense, not a mood. It's a mood, not a tense. Okay, Siddhayet. So with Siddhayet we can put all the karakas. So what is likely to be got? That's a question we can ask. Who is going to get? Where from you are going to get? Those are all in the shloka actually. That's how the shloka is. So Siddhayet. He will get what he will get? Aishwaryam. He will get. Right? And that Aishwaryam, there is a Visheshana pada, Avyahritam also, uninterrupted or like that. Avyahritam Aishwaryam cha. So something else also you are going to get. The cha says you will get A and B. Aishwaryam cha Avyahritam. Ashtada. He says Ashtada Parinatam. That which has manifested in 8 ways, eightfold. Eightfold ways. So the Aishwaryam, which is also manifested in eightfold, is what you will get. That's one way to understand. Siddhayet tat. The tat is being explained with all that. Punarashtada parinatam cha aishwaryam avyahritam. Because who will get? Who is the adhikari here? Who will get this? That's the next question we can ask. Okay? That is there in the second line. Tena, by that person it will be got. Right? And who is that person? He is actually doing Shavana, Tata Artha Manana, Dhyana and Sankirtanat. So out of doing all these, Panchami Vibhakti, out of doing all these he will get. Kasya Shavanat we can ask. Shavanat of what? Asya Shavanat. So that's also there. By listening that, by doing Manana of that, by doing Nididhyasana of that, he will get. So now the adhikari of the prayojana is also known. So what is that? Asya. What is that Asya? Question is, that is in the first line now. It says, okay, Amushmin stave. Is where Shankaracharya used the, he never used Ashtake, he used stave, stotre. Because now there are 10 shlokas, na? So he never said, Ashtake. He said stave. Amushmin stave. In this stuti, somebody who is able to, so the Asya is all pointing to that. In this stuti, what is available? Sarvatmatvam. It is putikritam. This stuti is doing what? It is showing this Advaita bhava. No duality. Everything is God. Sarvatma bhava. Sarvatmatvam. Sarva atmatvam. That is everywhere. That is what is being sputikritam. It's well shown, well established. In this particular stotra, Asya Shavanat, Tata Artha Mananat, okay, Dhyanatcha, Sankirtanat, by doing this, right, he will Siddhayet. It may be available to him. So this is one way. We can do a little bit of other ways of one way also. Then there is another, Syat is also there. He may become Asti, that's a lot is Syat. So maybe he'll become what? That is in the third line. Tataha, from this effort, Ishwaratvam Syat. Ishwaratvam Syat. Now the pada before that is explaining the Ishwaratvam. It is saying Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam Ishwaratvam Tataha Syat. That's a way we have to sort of do the Anvaya. So you get that Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam. That which has this Mahavibhuti, this great power of manifestation, which is that Sarvatmatva Bhava, right? Which is nothing but the Ishwaratva, that also you will get. The cha can be even put there. That we can do all that. But the essence is essentially, so there are two, three very important train of messages here. The first message is that this Mula, the key message, the key deliverable in this shloka, in this Dakshinamurty Stotra is Sarvatmatvam. So that conclusion is made here. That Dakshinamurty Stotram is confined to a single pointed way of telling you about the notion of Sarvatmatvam. Spudikritam. That is one message we are getting here. Second message that we are getting here is, since it is Atma Vidya, do all that you have to do about Atma Vidya. And what are those? Shravana, Manana, and Dhyana. Nididhyasa here uses Dhyana. Sankirtana cha is saying. The cha can be used for that also. Cha Sankirtanat. So we'll see. So he is saying, you do four things. Do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. Do Sankirtana also. So this is the second message. You will get that if only you do this. So these are the ways an Atma Vidya is generally to be pursued. So that is the message also it is coming. Secondly. Thirdly, in the last line, the pala is there. Last two lines. Basically the last two lines are the pala. The third line says you will get a Ishwaratva. Ishwaratvam Syat. Which is Sarvatma Maha Vibhuti Sagita. Ishwaratvam cha Syat. But in the last line it says this Ashtada Aishwaryam, this eightfold Aishwaryam also you will get. So there are two types of palas which are being explained here. That you can get the Sarvatmatva Bhava, you may become like that. That's one pala. The other pala is saying that the great Ashtamaha Siddhis, which are the divine things, also you will get. The eightfold is, I am using Manasollasa. Manasollasa clearly says Ashtamaha Siddhis. Shankaracharya actually explain, because the last chapter of that is only explanation of the Ashtamaha Siddhis actually, mostly. So all those are there. So four key messages here. One is the Mula Uddesha of this text is Sarvatmatvam. Understand that this oneness. And that is what is told in Gita, it is told in Brahma Sutra, or any of the Upanishads. Again and again, that's what it's told. Matta parataram na anyat asti dhananjaya mayi sarvamitam protam sutre manigana iva. That is what is told in many different ways. So he says that is the message. The second message is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and Sankirtana you must do. That's the only way the mind share will come. That's the Upasana. Through that the mind will, instead of getting distracted into other things, will get engaged into it. The ekagrata is a process for the ekagrata. It's a process for the jnana to become vijnana. So all those are there, and there are two different types of phalas which are being explained. So we will see the logic of some of these. Punaha, see, punaha is sometimes used not necessarily again. It's you see, sometimes Artikara will also, I do not know which way, because I am not seeing that again being used in any way. But Artikara there is a constraint of number of aksharas, meter and all that. But punaha, even in a conversational, punaha is used does not mean again. It's a way to carry forward the discussion. No, it's used like without not necessarily much meaning. In Hindi, matlab they say and keep on going. No, it's like that. So punaha is also used in that format also. So siddhayet ashtadha parinatam cha aishwaryam. So the Ashtamaha Siddhis are known. So these are the Ashtamaha Siddhis. It starts with Anima, Mahima, Garima, Lagima. Those four are one block. Then Praptihi, Prakamyam, Ishitvam and Vashitvam. So Anima, see, you can understand it from the root. Anima comes from Anu, actually. So it is that Siddhi, it is that capability into ability to enter into the subtlest form, even to the subtlest form, which means you have to become Paramanu and get into it. So we have read a lot of kathas and all that. They are all mapping onto this actually. So Anima is that. And Mahima is to comprehend the entire gross cosmos and envelop. Be part of it and envelop it also. So these are all typically the Ishwarasya, these are the abilities of the Lord in the scheme of things. Then Garima. Garima comes from Guru. Guru is heavy. So Garima is to make an atom weigh as though it is like he says Meru, Mahameru. He uses the word Meru mountain. That is why there are, now I am able to connect. After this, I am able to connect in the pranas and in the thing. For example, in Mahabharata, in the Vanaparva, when Hanuman was just the old monkey was lying and Bhima came. So the monkey told, please take my tail and put on the other side and go. Hanuman used Garima. He couldn't lift. The tail could not be lifted. It became heavy. We read a story like that, na? This is actually Garima. Then Lagima comes from Lagu. Now, where do I connect this story? Perhaps because Hanuman is supposed to have all the Ashtasiddhis. In this thing. Chalisa, Hanuman Chalisa, it comes. Sata. So, where is he using this Lagima? When he brought the Sanjeevani Parvata. Because what is making it Lagu, right? Lagima is become as light as you can make an object become as light as feather. That is what is being described. So I was just connecting it to some of the stories, right? That is Lagima. Then Praptihi, reach anywhere from hell. They say from Patala up to Brahmaloka. This is the different. Essentially, it is to say ability to reach anywhere in a moment. Again, in Puranas, these kinds of things are being told. I mean, they're all very alien to each other. How is it possible? Because we are at this plane. Start walking in half an hour, I will, assuming there is no enough traffic and roads are available, I can go maybe 3 kilometers. We are at that plane. So anyway, so Praptihi is reaching anywhere from hell to heaven in a moment. Prakamyam is fly in space at will. Okay. Ishitvam is again from the root of Ishvara Bhava. So Ishitvam is at a command create a new cosmos. That's how Vishwamitra was able to create a world for Trishanku. I was able to connect to that story. Everything immediately connected to me. All Mahimas, I found one example. So Vishwamitra's Ishitva created a world for Trishanku. That is what it is. Ishitvam. And Vashitvam, bringing under one's own control anyone. There are enough examples. So these are the Ashtasiddhis. Now I want to a little bit, this is not our main thing to talk, but I just want to tell you. Now, we are in such a rational world, in a very Western educated scientific world. We can endlessly ask, how is it possible, what are we talking about, and so on. The only thing I am seeing, for example, about 3 months back, came in WhatsApp. I am very skeptical about WhatsApp anyway, because with the multimedia technology you can do anything and send. But I actually saw a video where the Hatha Yogis were flying at a distance of 20 feet, 30 feet in some place in the US. All these people are shouting, and I don't know whether in fact you can manufacture all of them and create a nice video also. So I still do not know. But I have heard that this is the nearest. So the nearest I have actually heard is Lagima. Certain versions of it. Now people are able to, in a folded leg posture, I am told, people are able to lift to a certain height and so on. So I do not know. I will not use science because then it is futile. We have to just delete this slide and go. There is something, there is a lot Ashtasiddhis that they are talking about, and that is being explained. Punarashtada is actually coming here. So, but the second important point, which I've been hearing some other pravachakas, and I think Nochur, Venkatraman and Samar, I heard this I really liked it. He says, getting siddhis, he used a very nice word. He said, getting siddhis and trying to use siddhis is like short-circuiting electricity. Your spiritual progress, Vishwamitra is the example. Vishwamitra is the example. Your spiritual progress will come in a snake and ladder. So siddhis are not for a person who wants to spiritually evolve and become sarvatmatva bhava. For him, siddhi is not what he will go after. People who go after siddhis will not be spiritually evolved. They may do maya jal. I mean, we keep hearing, we do not know how much we can verify it and we don't have to waste our time and so on. But this point I want to make, siddhis and using siddhis for gainful employment of, because siddhis does not give you the jnana. It gives you some, not the ultimate jnana. The satyam jnanam anantam brahma, that ultimate jnanam is not part of siddhi. Siddhi are all low level. So all really low level ideas. So siddhi is a short circuit of spirituality. Short circuit of evolution of an individual. I will just leave only that thought here. But he has mentioned here. So the question is, why did he mention here? This question will come. Why is he mentioning here? Because this is again the charm of the Indian thinking. The reason is, in our text, in every possible ways I have seen it, in our text, in every ways they will tell the perfection, but they will immediately say the world has all kinds of people. I have to give for everybody what they can take at their level. I mean, then if I don't do it, it's a very exclusive philosophy. I mean, Indian philosophy is being actually, accused as being exclusive. They have not read it properly. Indian philosophy is very inclusive. That's why, in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Papa Yoneya, right? He says Papa Yoneya, Shudras, and because this normal, argument that these are all only for Brahmins, which means, are you telling me 97% of the population is, if it takes 50% is gone. Statistically 50% is gone. If you take all Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Shudras, the remaining will be about 1.5%. If you write a knowledge which is for 1.5%, this is like CAT exam with 99% coming. So it's like a MBA kind of a thing. It's not that exclusive. That's why in chapter 9 and in a few places in Gita, he actually explains it is for everyone. So why is he telling two things? So I will bring a little bit from Gita to just my understanding of what it is. So anyway, so he is talking about, it's not 3 paths actually, I started with 3 paths, I found only 2. It's 2 paths for the benefits. First of all, how will you get the benefits? Shravanat, Tata, Artha, Mananat, Dhyanat, Sankirtanat. This is the methodology. Now Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is known. He has added a 4th, Sankirtana. So there are 2 interpretations possible. One interpretation is, people who are not still evolved to that kind of spiritual thing, that is, in fact, that's the very reason stotras are. That's why the bhakti parampara is very, very important. Even without knowing the meaning of something, with a genuine shraddha, if you can do Sankirtana, I told sometime the clue will come, sometime the path will be shown, that will happen. So they will go there. So this is for the people who are not at there, please do, you will be there. That is one way to understand why he put the 4th one there. Second interpretation is Sankirtana is actually meaning a person who has realized, who has known, must actually put it for others. So it is giving out the knowledge. Because only they were having and continue the parampara. Otherwise this dhara, jnana dhara will get interrupted. This is the biggest thing which has happened in the last 200 years in this country. After Westerners came, we all thought working in office and all that is more lucrative and all that. Our jnana parampara is a little bit, it's wobbling now. It's not disappeared, it is wobbling. Why? Because we are cutting the jnana parampara. So that's why Satyancha Swadhyaya Pravachanacha in Taittiriya Upanishad. Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. You understand, please give it out. So the sharing is very, so that is another interpretation many have made. So either ways, these are the ways to actually move. What benefits will we get? For the one who will spiritually incline, line 3. Sarvatmatvam Mahavibhuti Sahitam. You will experience that oneness. That is for a spiritually evolved. But none of our text is exclusive. Chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, you just go and read slokas 8 to 12. Beautiful slokas. Tasmat, Tyaga Shantir Anantaram. That's how he ends. He says, you are a very intellectual, do this. He says, no, I am not an intellectual. Then at least you do some dhyana, try to control your mind. No, sir, that is also not possible. Then he says, Palatyaga. You do work and say, whatever comes out of my work. Tasmat, that's why in 18th chapter, He says, Swakarmana tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. Krishna, I mean, it's a great text, Bhagavad Gita. He says, Swakarmanam tam abhyarcha. And we don't need rocket science, we don't need Veda, we don't need Sanskrit. What is Krishna saying? Swakarmana, which all of us in Samaja will do work. Swakarmana tam abhyarcha. Work is worship. In Vidana Soda they have written it. That is what we are saying. Swakarmana tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. Krishna is thumping the desk and says people attain siddhi. And what is the spirit there? He will not attain siddhi directly. He will travel and he will go through the Bhagavad Taksha will happen. So it is never exclusive. Our text has never been exclusive. It says, we know there are people at different planes. Give them all that. So they will find their way and come. So the others are who are all in the short circuit mode. Let them, and then let them try. Let them become ayati. After some time they will understand there is nothing much here. Let's see something more than that. It's a ayati route. Let them go. For them give Ashtasiddhi. So that's for them. That's why in Gita I have taken all these slokas from chapter 4, 7 and all that. These slokas are saying only that, no? Ye etamam prapadyante tam tadaiva bhajamyam. What you ask I will give. The burden of asking is yours. And the benefit of that is also for yours. You want money, I will give you money. That's what this nice story I think I narrated long back. There is a story in a lighter vein. I think it's available in Bhagavata Purana, but I will put it in a different thing. Narada and Krishna went out. I told this story long time back once also. But in this context I am telling it again. Narada and Krishna were going. They went to a very wealthy person who is a Vishnu Bhakta. But a very, cost-benefit Bhakta. Which means I will do this much, I will get what benefit, that level. I mean, his evolution is there. Don't look down upon anyone. There are different, that is the wisdom happens to a person who evolves. Not to look down upon, say, all these, that means we are nowhere in the picture of our journey. So he is like that. Krishna goes and stays. So all that. Krishna says, I am Sakshat, and Vishnu says, I am Sakshat Vishnu. So this Bhakta was so elated. So he does the cost benefit properly, and then he, if CEO comes, we do, that kind of a thing, impression technology, if I were to use a word like that. He does all that, and then next day morning when Vishnu, Narada goes, then he says, we will get a lot of money. He gives good Ashirvada. Lot of money, Aishwarya, everything you will get over. Then they keep going. There is one poor Brahmin who has one cow. That cow gives a liter of milk or half a liter of milk or something. That's all is Aishwarya. Nothing else. He is a genuine Vishnu Bhakta. Absolutely genuine Vishnu Bhakta, not the cost benefit variety. So Narada and Vishnu go and say, Sakshat Vishnu, I have come. So this Brahmin was elated. So he didn't have anything, whatever he had, he just shared, and then he had a torn, small little mat. He said, please take that mat. These are all way of, I am just, look at the bhava of what I am talking. All that he did, they stayed that night. Then next day morning they get up, and then Vishnu did Ashirvada, but he was murmuring. It was not bold, it was not told Ashirvada. This Narada got very curious. After they came out, he said, what did you say? I didn't hear. There you were telling properly, I could hear. What did you say? Vishnu told him, I did Ashirvada that the cow must die. This is so counterintuitive to us. This is why we should read Puranas. We think it is counterintuitive. You know what is the Sukshma there? And Narada asked, why? He said, what do you mean? He was such a genuine Bhakta. He was eking a small living and breathing with this cow, and that fellow was a cost benefit fellow, and then you give him more money. You gave him Ashirvada of Aishwarya and all that, and you are telling let the cow die. Vishnu said, he is 99.999% dependent on me. That point, not 1% is because of the cow. I take him out, he will come to me. In normal, our material life, we cannot understand the logic. We will think there is something wrong. So, Vishnu knew what he wants and he gave. That's what Krishna is saying here. Etam, he says, Kankshantah karmanam siddhim yajanta ye devataha. All those are there in that next sloka. But look at here. Yo yam tanum bhuktaya shraddhayaha achitum ichati. Okay? Tasya achalam shraddham tameva dadamyaham. He says, I will give you what you ask. So the cost benefit flow. Then Narada asked, why did you give him that? He said he has to, indulge more and more in materialism, and he has to come out with heavy price paying for it. He is in that path. He has to come out. That's why he is asking, I will give him that. He has to go through it and get his lessons in life before coming. That's what Krishna is saying. So the palas are, in the Indian text is always like that. It will say you will get A, B, C, D, E. People read it and say this is very confusing. That means we are in a kindergarten of understanding ancient Indian wisdom. It is not at all confusing. Ancient Indian wisdom is confusing for some people who doesn't know how to read it, who doesn't know the sukshma of this, the spirit behind these texts. It will say 4 things which are all contradicting. Why? Because the 4 things are contradicting, because the 4 things are not for the same person. The 4 things are for 4 different persons. It's an inclusive text. So that is how this is. That's why you see Punarashtada, Aishwarya Ashtada. The siddhis, Ashtamaha siddhis are available. Because if you have to short circuit yourself, and that's what Vishwamitra did. He did so many years of penance, he short circuited it again. Then he did so many years of penance, again short circuited it by creating this. He wanted to send this fellow, and Devendra said there is no mechanism of taking somebody live there. So then you put a new world and then create something. These are all very nice stories. But I think the sukshma of the stories is the evolution has its own paths. That's what it is. But look at Manasollasa, he gives a very nice explanation. He says, for some who got Sarvatmatva Vibhuti, he will also get Ashtasiddhi. That's his argument. And the argument is, look at this sloka, is a nice sloka. He says, Pushpam Anayata. One fellow is bringing the flower. I am bringing a flower. My job is only to bring the flower. I had no intention of having this beautiful smell that is coming out of this flower. That was not the purpose. I was asked to bring the flower. Pushpam anayata gandaha vina icham vina icham anubhuyate. I didn't have the desire, but it came, buy one take one free kind of a thing. So he says, just like a person who brought a flower, his intention was, I must be benefited by the nice odor of the flower, was not there. But when he brought the flower, it was available to him. He gives that example. And he says in the same way, like, Purnaham bhava yuktena, aham purnaha, tadrishasya bhavaha, sarvatmatva bhavaha. The fullness. When I experience fullness, he says, Ashtasiddhi is also part for you only. You will not use it. You will not short circuit. You will have it, but you will not use the privilege. That is having the best. In fact, this is even in material life, I am telling you, having the best of everything with us and exercising an option not to use is a very high level of our evolution. It's much easy to, I have a TV, I have a AC, I can tuck, sit down. I can have all that, I can sit without any of them. You have actually evolved. The Dhamma Shama is in action. That makes this individual a much evolved individual. So a fully evolved individual will not use it. It will be with him or her. That's what it is. Purnaham bhava yuktena parichinna vibhuteha. These parichinna vibhuteha, these are all broken. Siddhis are all impermanent. After some time may go. But they are also available for them. That's the example he gives. That's how he justifies both of them. Shankaracharya has put both of them. This is also there. Another way to understand. Swargadi rajyam samrajyam manute nahi panditaha. Panditas don't think Swargadi means the 6 above. The Adi is Etel. The 7 lokas, Bhu, Bhuvar, Suvar, Loga. Swargadi means 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is what we are talking. Swargadi rajyam samrajyam na manute. They don't think that is the ultimate kingdom for us. Panditas never think like that. Tadeva tasya samrajyam yat tu swarajyam. Atmani. The sarvatmatva bhava That is there, they treasure that as the ultimate treasure. Reaching that state. That's why that is the mula uddesha of the stotra. Sarvatmatva bhava. So that's what he's saying. Tadeva tasya samrajyam yattu swarajyam atmani. Reveling in Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha in Bhagavad Gita. Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha is what he says. He revels in himself. That is Atmarati. Atmarati is used again in another place in Bhagavad Gita. This is actually the last sloka in Manasollasa. Manasollasa ends with this sloka actually. Yasya deve para bhaktihi yata deve tata gurau tasya yete katita hi artaha prakashante mahatmanaha. Sureshwaracharya says that your Shraddha and Bhakti on your Guru must be as much as your Shraddha and Bhakti on God. Then what is told in this, because after all this is a Sloka and Guru. It's a Sloka and Dakshinamurty. That's why he says, Guru, this is exactly the last Sloka of Shvetashvatara Upanishad. It has 6 chapters. Shvetashvatara Upanishad has 6 chapters. This is the last shloka, 23rd shloka in chapter 6 of verbatim. He has used that shloka here because contextually he finds it, I think, appropriate. So, yasya deve parabhaktihi. Parabhakti in Deva and that parabhakti in Guru. This you can learn from a Vaishnava Sampradaya. So well you can learn. That prapatti, that is the greatest thing we can learn from the Vaishnava Sampradaya. The Guru Bhakti and the Deva Bhakti, the Parabhakti on Deva, God and the Guru must happen. That's what he's saying. Yasya deve parabhaktihi yata, right? Tata, in the same way. Yata, tata always comes, Yata, you have that kind of a bhakti, you should develop that kind of a bhakti in Guru. We are fairly advanced in our spiritual journey when we are able to do it. And for that to happen, if we, without asking what, why and so on, the God will show us the Guru. At different stages, they will show us different Gurus. It is an ongoing process that will happen. And for which we have to bring that sincerity and that Shraddha is what? That pristine, pure thing that, surrender. I am not going to ask anything. I am not going to evaluate anything. I think good thing will happen. As a child has with the mother. Purest form of Shraddha you can see is a child having in the mother. It surrenders itself to the mother. It says, mother will do good thing for me. That the first 2 years or 3 years, purest form of Shraddha. That kind of a Shraddha. That is called Shraddha. You should not evaluate, we should not ask, all that is not what it is. He says, if you do that, right, tasya, for that person, yetehe katitaha hi artaha. He is talking about the 10 chapters now, which means he is talking about the entire Dakshinamurty Stotra. Yetehe katitaha hi artaha prakashante. It will be manifested to them. And this is a matter of Shraddha. It is not a matter of, analytical thinking, verifying it, checking with 10 people and then deciding. Those are all for our Vyavaharika, all that it works. Now, Atma Vidya doesn't work like that. The day we know how to surrender, we will make a progress. And we should surrender to the Guru. And of course, the Deva Bhakti is a little easier. Between the two, actually, Deva Bhakti is a little easier. Guru Bhakti is not easy. The day we are able to do it, we are evolving much faster. So that is what, in a way, he is saying, has taken it from Shvetashvatara Upanishad, actually. This is the last. In fact, after that, this is the last, I think, because it's connected to that. He says, Prakashatmikaya Shaktya Prakashanam Prabhakaraha Prakashayati yo Vishwam Prakashaha Ayam Prakashatam. He says that ultimate, Prakashatmikaya, it is embodiment of light. Prakashatma. Ultimate, the ultimate Brahman is what? It is nothing but light. Shaktiya, with that power, it is giving light. Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. That Mundakopanishad mantra is told in a different way here. Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi Tame eva bandham. That is coming. In Gita there are shlokas which says exactly that. He says, even the sun is enlightened only by that source of light. Prakashayati, this whole world is enlightened by that. Let it enlighten me also. That's how it ends. It says, Prakasha, ayam prakasha prakashatam. This is again, lot, prakashatam. Let it enlighten us. For which you develop that. So the previous shloka says, develop the Shraddha, this will happen. It will lead us. Let us not worry, how far should I go. That's why I always say, in spirituality, let us not ask, will it happen tomorrow? Should we, how much we have covered, how much we are going. That means we are nowhere in that domain. I think all these thoughts must go out. For Vyavahara, for some reason, we are doing all that. But, since we are so much used to it, we bring all those ideas here. We are not supposed to bring those ideas into this domain. Iti Srimad Shankara Bhagavad Padakritam Sri Dakshinamurty Stotram. I will end with two more nice shlokas. Punah Prarthana I will do, and then we will stop this, conclude this thing. Chidganaya Maheshaya Vatamula Nivasine Sachidananda Rupaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. He is Chit Gana, solidified Chit. Consciousness which is solidified. Gana is solidified, na? Right? Chit Ganaya, Maheshaya. So these are all the adjectives for Dakshinamurti. Everything is in Chaturthi Vibhakti. So Namaskara is always done only in Chaturthi Vibhakti. So all are in fourth case. To him I give offerings. To him I offer. To him. So it's fourth case. Chit Ganaya, Maheshaya, Vatamula Nivasine, Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhagya. We started, that's why I wanted to end with this shloka. Satchit Ananda Rupaya, Satchidananda Rupaya, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. That Dakshinamurti who is Satchit Ananda Rupa, who is nothing but that solidified Chit, that consciousness, right? Who is in the Vatavitapi Samipe, Vatamusaniva, Chitram Vatatator Mule, Taror Mule. Then the beautiful shloka with which I want to end. It says, Ajnana Timirandhasya, Jnana Anjana Shalakaya, Chakshuhu Unmilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave. This is what a guru does. At every stage a guru does this. At every stage the guru that we encounter will only do that. What he will do? This blindness, this andhakara which came out of the blindness of ignorance. Because what is ignorance is a very relative word. The degree of ignorance begets the degree of gurus for us also. So it says, Ajnana Timirandasya. And how does he remove it? He takes this Anjana in a stick. What is that Anjana? That is Jnana. He takes that Anjana called Jnana, and then with that he puts and opens your eyes. He opens your eyes. Literally the Guru opens the eyes. So he says, Sakshuhu Unmilitam. The Chakshu was opened. You are actually, Gakarasya Andakarasya Rukarantasya Tan Nirodhana. Panini has said, what is Guru? Gakara means Andakara. And Rukara is Tan Nirodha, Nivaranam. Tasmat Guru Abhidhiyate is what Panini says. It's Panini's definition of Guru. So that leading us from darkness to light is a continuous process. It's a continuous process. When we reach the state of being, the process, the state, the journey, everything, the Triputi, Sarva Nasha of the Triputi will happen, which is alright. But until then the journey makes sense. The journey is as real until we completed the journey. The moment we complete the journey, all will become unreal. But until then, this is real. So I think that is what he says. Chakshuhu unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So with that, I think it has been a very fulfilling experience personally for me. When I was starting, I've been reciting this Dakshinamurty Stotram from my student days, but I never knew that there is so much that can happen in this stotra. It is a very deep stotra. I think we are blessed to sort of go through, to the extent of what we know. To the extent of what we know, we have collectively partaken. But I think this is a shloka which is worthy of. Now the advantage of telling this shloka is all these reverberate in our mind. These lectures and these shlokas, these meanings. I think that's the charm of some of these. God has given us that opportunity, and In 15 sessions, we are able to do some justice for that with my limited ignorance. I don't know much. I only, here and there a little bit, I try to bring my own thinking. So with this, we complete. I think we'll have one sort of a summary session. It always helps to put all of them together. When I do not know, I think next 2 weeks I'm not here, I think. I was also not here for, although I was here on Saraswati day and I left. After that I came only yesterday. Anyway, we'll see when we do. Then we will actually have this Gita Jayanti on December 10th. Next time when we meet, we'll also talk a little bit about that. Hopefully we'll meet sometime in 2 weeks from now.